The modern city, a hard, unforgiving place, cramped, ordered, stifling. A place that increasingly restricts where we go and what we do. A place that, especially for young people, threatens to limit freedom and creativity. But does it have to be that way? Can we learn to use its shapes, structures, its very architecture to explore a whole new sense of freedom? Is there an entirely different way of seeing our urban environment? There is. It's called parkour. Parkour is an art of movement, a highly physical training discipline involving running, jumping, climbing, balancing, dropping and mastering one's own movements. The word parkour is a French term that derives from the word for a course or a route. Practitioners are called traceurs, and their aim is to move without restriction over any terrain, overcoming the obstacles in their path, moving from point A to point B in a fast, fluid and efficient way. Innovative, explosive, graceful and dynamic, parkour is by its very nature a spectacular phenomenon. But it's more than just a form of physical expression. The central concept of finding a path through any terrain, using only your body, mirrors a deeper concept of navigating any and all obstacles in life with a positive attitude and a profound self-discipline. The parkour action we see today in films or on TV commercials, documentaries and performances is there due to a particular way of training that was created in France by the pioneers of the sport.
So parkour began in Paris, in the suburb of Paris, in the 80s. And at this time, there were no media interests about this sport. So just the pioneer guys, 10 guys, who were just animated by a deep desire to be alive and express themselves and train very, very, very hard. That was the main concern, the main goal every day. Just train very, very hard. That's it. Parkour!
Their disciplined and dedicated training led to a very high level of physical achievement, and the movements created by the French traceurs meant that soon the media became interested. Commercials, films and documentaries were created, introducing and presenting parkour to a new audience outside of the French parkour community. The Channel 4 documentaries Jump London and Jump Britain played a huge role in bringing parkour to a mainstream audience both in the UK and internationally. One man inspired to action after seeing the Jump documentaries was Eugene Minogue, a community sports officer for Westminster Council. Recognising the potential of parkour, he located two of the top instructors in the UK, Dan Edwards and Forrest. They began working together on the Westminster Sports Unit Positive Futures programme, a project that helps young people in the city explore their full potential through sport.
I thought parkour was a very underground, very urban sport, something that young people could relate to and do. Something different.
As a practitioner and teacher of parkour, I'd very much like to see people approaching the discipline from a methodical standpoint, really sort of beginning from the ground up.
Parkour, it's more a combination of movement. It's more how to learn about yourself, how to learn about your environment, how to be able to adapt with your environment, to be able to move everywhere, and to be able to understand how your body works as well, your body and your mind.
The sports unit is one of our key partners in the borough because sport is clearly a very successful way of engaging with all young people. Because research will say if they're fully engaged in a good way, they're far less likely to be involved in crime or antisocial behaviour.
West 10, West 10!
No, we just heard about it, I went on the internet and found out about it.
I was just watching TV and this thing came on, Jump London and Jump Britain.
I just wanted to get a hobby. It's good to keep you off the streets. It's good to keep you off the streets as well.
Positive Futures is a social inclusion programme for young people aged 8 to 19, managed by Crime Concern on behalf of the Home Office Crime and Drug Strategy Directorate. Focusing on the most deprived wards of Westminster, the programme uses sports and arts-based activities to build relationships with young people in order to assist their personal development and provide opportunities in education, training and employment.
It's good because I like jumping. I jump around anywhere I can.
They've got huge amounts of energy and they're very exuberant, and it's just a question of trying to focus that energy. And they're going to use it one way or another, so you just try and focus it down the correct channel, you know, but it's a pretty broad channel. You can't narrow it down too much, you've got to let them just have fun with it, and they do.
Westminster's Positive Futures programme meets the Every Child Matters framework, which is helping hundreds of young people through the 5 key outcomes of staying safe, being healthy, enjoying and achieving, making a positive contribution, and achieving economic well-being. It aims to help young people develop a positive future.
I think the children like it because they were very involved, they were smiley, they wanted, I want to try again,
Yeah, get the legs up.
It's hard, you know.
Okay, and you are in this position, like that.
We've been learning how to do cat leap, and we've been doing monkey warm-ups. There's loads of things to do in Stoke Club, but I like this one the best. And because the people are really nice and they teach me different things. Well, inside Stowe is a very nice place, but outside Stowe, well, it's crowded, but the shops are really nice and stuff, so. And it can get a bit rough sometimes.
It's really good, and you have to be a bit flexible, but I'm not. And it's quite hard, but it's easy as well. And even little people can do it as well.
It's really fun and it's challenging, because when it's challenging it's much better for kids, so then they'll find it more fun.
They are going to do this sort of stuff. They'll see it on TV and in the media. They are going to mimic it, and we want them to mimic it in a safe way. So we're trying to teach them, give them a good foundation right from the start, and teach them to approach things carefully and work within their bounds and improve bit by bit so they don't injure themselves, because they are going to mimic it, so it's best if they mimic it safely.
The young people who benefit from the Positive Futures parkour workshops come primarily from disadvantaged inner city areas. Typically, these children have limited or no access to sports facilities or dedicated sports instructors. The workshops offer them an opportunity to utilise both. While exploring their own physical potential, these young people will also improve social skills and develop self-confidence.
I've been doing it about half a year. It shouldn't just go onto the street just jumping about doing parkour. It should just consult someone who knows how to do it, then just gradually do it on soft mats. Then when you get better, you can do it on the street. But not if you just want to do parkour as a little joke. You should take it serious, because you could hurt yourself.
I think it's great because I wanted to study gymnastics, and I think this is kind of like gymnastics for me, and it's helping me be more flexible than I am. It's a way a fun way to exercise, not like running round like a building how many times. Although it's exercising, but it's not really fun. This is like learning how to do something, and it's fun. And
the kind of skills they pick up from this is, well, physically obviously they're developing their coordination and their musculature, and hopefully strengthening their joints and developing their general anatomy. But also, most importantly, probably they're building up mental skills. They're building up confidence, self-esteem, the ability to push themselves a little bit further than they usually would.
I feel wicked. I can't believe I jumped that far.
You can see they're not really used to pushing themselves beyond what's comfortable for them. When you bring out the stopwatch and just give a little bit of challenge from the other kids around them, then they start working harder and they improve. They make gains. So, and this for them is an important step to take, I think, mentally, because they realise that if they do apply themselves to something, they can come away with new skills and have improved their potential and push their limits beyond what they thought it was.
Sport gives people confidence. They become aware of their own abilities to do something. In a lot of cases, in a lot of instances, particularly at schools, you play ball games, children who can't catch and can't throw are ostracised by their fellow children, which is a huge pressure. Now, if they're doing a sport which they can succeed at and can be seen by their peers to succeed at, it changes their whole perception. They become self-confident, it changes the way they socialise, the way they deal in schools. There are various studies that have been done which show that successfully active children improve their school rankings. Their behaviour within school gets better because they become much more confident in their own abilities. They don't tend to rebel.
Okay, so now we go outside.
We're going to take them outdoors. the first time. So they begin to make the transition from indoors to outdoors, which is very important to do early on in your training. Even at this young age, they should start to apply the technical stuff they learn in here to outdoors.
Yes. Okay, the idea, it's exactly the same as the beam. When you walk, it's flat foot, and you do heel, toes, heel, toes.
And don't touch the ground either.
And don't touch. We're going to try to do a little challenge. One by one, you're going to start walking on the bollards, and you try to go the farthest. But when you touch my hands, because you lose your balance, you know, it means for you it's over. If you feel that you drop, just you touch my hand. I'm going to catch you.
Yeah, I mean, most kids do this kind of stuff naturally. They move around in their terrain. They don't go where they're sort of meant to go by convention. They'll, climb on railings and walls and all that sort of stuff. But the difference between that and parkour is that in parkour you train in a disciplined and methodical and structured way to become very, very efficient at doing this and very capable of doing it in any environment in a very fast, fluid and dynamic way. The other difference is that you push yourself to overcome your fears, really. And when you're a kid doing this sort of stuff, you won't really do things that frighten you a lot, because you're not doing it for any reason other than for enjoyment, obviously, when you're young. So if something looks scary, you just, you won't do it.
Oh, when we talked about parkour is not just the rooftop. It's not just the jump between roof. Sometimes it's just this kind of exercise and just to find a solution. This is the starting point and this is the ending point. So you have to start the solution to be able to reach the point. This is parkour.
I don't think I can do it, but I'm going to try still. I should never give up.
Whoa! Okay, but you have to stay in balance. One.
As with many sporting pursuits, there's an element of risk within the practice of parkour. Using no protective clothing and moving in spaces not designed for such unrestricted movement, practitioners with a high level of skill seem to court danger at every turn. However, for the traceur, these risks are calculated ones and are only ever taken after intensive training and preparation. Far from being adrenaline junkies or risk addicted, these individuals are keen to point out that their discipline requires a calm and clear mind, an approach that has no room for thoughts of risk or danger. The focus is always on the perfection of movement.
People have an idea about parkour, which is like, okay, so you jump from building to building, this is parkour, and this is not parkour. Once again, it's a way of training and thinking and moving. Parkour is not all about big jump, it's also imagination, creation, and just find movement.
Now, a lot of youngsters are involved in sport, they can get involved in sport, but not all. Some of the sporting facilities now, they've not had any access to. They've been excluded from school at a young age, they've lived on the street, they haven't got the same connections. So what we try and do is research alternative programs and projects that we can sort of recommend young people to go into. A good example of that would be the sort of Parkour project, where they encourage people to come in to spaces that are already there and gradually work with their environment, respect for the environment, respect for their body, and that's an alternative way of looking at things instead of the organised five-a-side football that perhaps that traditional space has been used for. We need to explore as many different avenues to divert young people away from crime, antisocial behaviour as we possibly can, because one rule does not fit all.